Broadcasting live from the EBSN online studios in Columbus, Ohio. It's The Rivalry, the tale of two schools, with former NFL scout and son of legendary Michigan head coach, Bo Schembechler, bringing you both sides of the greatest rivalry in all of sports. Here's your host, Shemy Schembechler.
Hello, everybody. The Rivalry Classic Football Show. Michigan guy in the shadows of Ohio Stadium. Zach Boren, we're going to need your help, buddy.
We are, man. Look at this. You are right outside the shoe, aren't you?
And you criticize me for wearing the maize and blue, but that's what this show is all about. Hey, there's a friend over there wearing maize and blue.
I know,
How about
I saw that. I saw that.
Quite the omen, isn't it? How about that? Well, hey, we have a lot of work to do up in Ann Arbor. That's plainly evident.
A lot of work.
We're gonna dig into that a little bit in this show, but we have Don Thomas. Are you on the phone?
I'm here.
Don Thomas, we love having you on the show, buddy, but boy, do we need as much support out of the Michigan nation as ever. What do you think, my friend? How do we recover from this?
Oh, man. Whew. Honestly, I got to be at the game this past week, which kind of, you really feel the loss because you feel the Notre Dame crowd. You feel like things are, going in the toilet, and it's easy to make a knee-jerk reaction. But where we go from here is we build. We have the next 5 games to really get ourselves together, especially getting 2 things. Really, we need to really get the identity down, number 1. And number 2, we really need to, really solidify our offensive line, really get these guys some confidence.
Right.
So that's important here. I don't as much care about the score of the games against Western Michigan, SMU. But I want to see execution.
Right.
I want to see guys doing the right things.
Right.
And guys getting confidence. And that's
Right.
where we go from here.
Right.
We need an offensive identity.
Well, that's true, and I'm gonna start in here a little bit, Don, because we're gonna have to channel the old man a little bit here, channel a little Schembechler here, because I can promise you, if Bo is up in that Schembechler Hall with the team this week, here are a couple of the things that I think he's going to address very specifically. Now, Bo never hesitated to switch guys in positions, all right? If he knew there was a problem and he knew that there would be a potential remedy to that problem, he would take quick and swift action, all right? So we're going to get into some of these details, and I think everybody has talked ad nauseum about what we think went wrong, why we lost to Notre Dame. And we've had a lot of comments from many of the Michigan faithful. And so Braylon Edwards, I saw a post by Brian Greasy, which everybody thought was a really smart and brilliant perspective. I thought it was wrong. Now, I love Greasy. We recruited him as a preferred walk-on at Michigan before he ever won a national title. But we have to, and here's the first thing. Your job as a coaching staff, head coach and assistant coaches, and this is where I'm going to get on Greasy a little bit. We talk about player development, all right? You got to have players to develop. You got to have some talent. You have to understand where the talent best fits so that teams can be successful, all right? We're going to have to start to take a look at some very young players that are going to move into these tackle spots, okay? First and foremost, left tackle. Now, I think John Runyon Jr. has a chance to be a successful interior offensive lineman, all right?
Yes.
He needs to move into guard, all right? Because I think we're not getting enough out of the right guard position that we need, all right? His frame and his size and his athleticism are best suited to play inside, whether that be left guard or right guard. And one of the things I like Onwenu. Onwenu is a big, strong, and powerful individual, but his quickness off the ball is a concern to me, all right? I think he's done a great job getting his weight down in the past, but the bottom line is, if you're going to be, and Zach, you know this implicitly, you have to be able to quick off the ball if you're going to be a successful interior running attack. Wouldn't you say so?
I totally agree with you. I from watching Michigan's game Saturday night, not only do I think the offensive line was not quick, but I thought they were lazy. If you go back and watch some of those plays, they're just – it's not even a quickness thing. It's not even a strength thing. It is a laziness thing. Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're depending on – and maybe this is some of these guys, being young and not, being new to starting on the offensive line at the University of Michigan. But when you go to Notre Dame, you can't depend on the other guys around you to make the blocks.
Right. I know. But here's the thing, Zach. These guys are juniors now. All right. If they're not ready now, when are they going to be ready? Okay. So I'm of the opinion, and I'm looking up and down this depth chart, and I'm looking at Runyon, who should be a guard. I'm looking at right tackle Michelle Beatty, who he's not getting it done. Okay. So we've been talking about spring football, two-a-days camp. Two guys, one a true freshman, Mayfield.
Yeah.
I think they should throw Mayfield in there at left tackle, all right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Hudson, who is a redshirt freshman, all right?
Yeah.
It may not be the best scenario, Don, but we got to start somewhere to get this young blood into the game so that by the time we get to the Big Ten schedule, we have some semblance of athleticism that is going to be able to be effective, number one, in running the football, but in pass protection, okay? I'm of the opinion that Shea Patterson, outside of he had the cramping and all that stuff in the middle of the game, that he had a pretty effective game when given the time and opportunity to throw. Now, he was under threat pretty much the entire game. Once we get down there and we're 1.8 yards per carry for the entire game, it's going to put the quarterback under pressure. And so, go ahead, Don.
Yeah, and also, I found an interesting stat. Out of Shea's 30 throws 30 passes that he made, he only had a clean pocket 14 times.
I know.
And guess how many completions he had?
Not very good.
11.
Right.
11 for 14.
Yep.
Which means he was 9 for 16 under duress.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a thing we have to find ways to keep it clean. And I agree with you. If we're going to fail, if we're going to have breakdowns, I want to try and fail forward.
Mm-hmm.
We need to fail forward by putting these young bloods in the game. Because James Hudson and Jalen Mayfield have the body type, they have the athleticism to play on the outside.
Right.
And when I watched the game back on this past weekend, John Ripien, his lateral quickness, that's just another thing. He had no chance on the speed rush. It's like he was in slow motion.
I know.
And Shea Patterson, he's used to having a top-notch left tackle and a Greg Little in Ole Miss.
Right.
And so it's really kind of been a nerving thing if you're taking those snaps and you got 1-2 guys direction that Jalen Mayfield not Jalen Mayfield, but John Ryan didn't even get a piece of.
Right.
And so we need to make some moves on that front. So let's stay forward. That's nothing.
Yep, no doubt. Well, I can tell you, the old man, if he was here, he'd throw those young guys in there. He wouldn't care. Right, Zach?
Listen, I don't disagree with you two saying maybe throw the young guys in, but I hate to say it, how do you know they're going to do much better? These are freshmen going into the offense line. Honestly, from a true freshman standpoint, how many true freshmen have played at the University of Michigan on the offensive line as true freshmen? 2? I think in the history.
Not many. Jake Long did it.
No, Jake Long did not do it. Jake Long did not play as a true freshman because Justin Boren was set to be the first ever starting true freshman offensive lineman in Michigan history, and he broke his leg a week before the game.
I remember that now. Yep.
I think since Justin started a game against Iowa,
okay.
So he was one. I think there's only been one other since.
Right.
So
great.
Well,
there you go.
You can't look at it from a historical perspective. You have to look at it based on where we are right now.
Yeah, but it's still offensive line. I would say the biggest jump from high school to college.
I agree.
Is the offensive line.
I agree.
That's the biggest jump. A lot of people, maybe quarterback, but a quarterback can still be put into a position to succeed.
Right.
From an offensive line standpoint, there is way too much strength, lateral quickness, technique that goes into the offensive line position that you don't just get overnight going from high school to college football.
I get it. But the one thing that they have talked about, and this is the issue with Mayfield, because I watched a little high school film on him, all right?
Where did he go to high school, by the way?
He's up in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
All right? But here's
you have to take that into account, too.
Well, I agree, but I'm talking about athleticism, being able to set the edge in pass pro, where I know he's going to be an upgrade in pass protection based on that theory alone.
Okay.
Okay? So, obviously, we're not where we need to be in terms of strength and power and all those things, having a true freshman come in there. But I'd much rather have a guy that has a chance to set the edge as opposed to a guy that can't. Because the bottom line is, with Shea Patterson, what we need is to have the availability where he can escape the pocket. If he can escape the pocket by not having to avoid an outside pass rusher, that's going to be the best case scenario. All right? Now, I'm getting ready for Ohio State. Now, we're going to have to come down here and line up against two of the premier pass rushers in the Big Ten. Make no mistake.
Yeah, no, and we're putting a lot of blame on the offensive line right now, which
well,
trust me, they're warranted. It's very warranted.
And I'm going to go into the other positions,
but
too.
But here's the bigger issue, I think.
Yep.
Is there was no fluidity of the offense of the University of Michigan Saturday night at Notre Dame.
Right.
There was, from a coaching standpoint, from a play calling standpoint,
right,
there was no rhythm whatsoever.
True.
You got late in the game, it was literally let's snap the ball and let's play street ball. I mean, that's what it looked like. You had Shea Patterson running around and just trying to chuck up these routes. It looked like no one was on the same page.
Right. Well, maybe that's Jim.
It could be, but
Michigan.
Michigan is known to start with the run and throw off of the run.
Right.
Granted, I realize our offensive line was an issue, but at some point, Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, you have to get an identity of running the football. You have to have bread and butter plays,
precisely,
that get you in a rhythm offensively, and they didn't do that.
Right. And here's the thing. If we don't go now we converted on our first down in the first series, okay?
Yeah.
And we had some effect in the ability to run through the C gap, all right?
Yep.
So they ran their basic power play off the tackle.
Yes.
And we started there, but I think we got into a rut once we got into second down. You know, we started to throw early on the second set of downs. And we got behind, and we couldn't run once we got ourselves in the hole in long down and distance situations. So here's where I'm going to lead into this. All right, Higdon's fast. He's got some speed about him. All right, he is not quite the elusive back that Evans is.
No,
right?
I agree with you.
And I think Evans is a guy that's going to give us more flexibility as a 3-down back, more so than Higdon. All right. The other thing is, when we go in pass protection, too many missed assignments from the back. Tons. And I don't know what we're doing schematically in terms of getting guys lined up in the right position, but it's almost like we're not anticipating guys coming through the A and B gaps to protect as a running back. So maybe we have to simplify our protections even more, you know?
Yeah. No, I would agree with you.
You know, and I'm a little flustered, obviously, but I think when you have an Ed Warner, who is already a proven commodity as a coach, he's already proven that he knows how to develop offensive linemen. I think we need more time. That's going to be the bottom line. And so we go back to the drawing board and we hit all the things that we need to get done. And fortunately for us, we get to come back home, open up Michigan Stadium for our home opener against Western Michigan. And hopefully things will turn out right there.
Don, I'm going to go back to I'm going to ask you a question. This kind of ate at me a little bit. You mentioned in your opening statements that, you know, your next 5 games, whatever it is going to get Michigan football back on track. But you made the comment of you don't care what the score is. We just need to go out there and get some victories. My question to you is, as a Michigan fan, you are playing a Western Michigan football team that got ran up and down the field by a Syracuse quarterback, and you aren't going to care if Michigan goes out and wins 21-17, 21-14?
Let me clarify that real more, Zach. I do care about the score. But well, let me just kind of clarify. What I meant was I would hate to win 50-7, and we still had a bunch of missed assignments.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
and we didn't get better.
Mm-hmm.
We just out-talented them. I want us to out-execute and out-talent them.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Okay.
yeah, but the score does matter. I mean,
There.
you know what I'm...
Are we losing them?
We might have lost them. But I know
No, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but I was just saying that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at making sure that we're executing and that we're doing the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's not fool's gold.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah,
Totally
no,
makes
that totally makes sense, and
Mm-hmm.
and I see where you all are coming from. Except, yes, I totally understand that, but from a Michigan football perspective, I think they have to, especially after all of the former players coming out and saying what they did.
Yep.
Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we all know what Braylon Edwards said.
Yeah.
I think from a fan base standpoint, from a former player standpoint, from a football program standpoint, Michigan has to go on a run, no matter what, of blowing out teams, blowing them out. I think that is the only thing that gets everyone back on page.
Right. And I think we can do that. I mean, you have Western Michigan, who has a susceptible defense, and we'll get into that that pregame talk before that at the end of the show. But to get healthy again against a Mid-American Conference team, I think the timing of playing at Western Michigan is appropriate. But the bottom line is, I agree with you, Zach. The only way for Michigan football to get back in this race and to be a formidable option as a Big Ten East champion, we have to establish the identity that we're going to run the football down your throat.
Yes.
Similar to what Bo and Woody, and God bless, we're here at College Traditions right next to the great statue of Woody Hayes, my favorite Ohio coach of all time. You have to get that mentality back. And I don't know how Jim does that, but like I said, Ed Warner knows what he's doing.
He does. He does.
He's one of the most accomplished offensive line coaches that's ever coached at the collegiate level. And I know he knows what he's doing, but it's all a matter of attitude. And maybe we have to go back to the days of Elliot Uzelak and Jerry Hanlon and Paul Shadell, all great assistants under Bo, because they knew what the mentality had to be. They knew what the attitude had to be. And if we can take these young players and develop them for the remainder of this preseason, I think we'll still have a chance to compete for the championship, but not until we address these issues.
Yeah. The thing, and Don, you can butt in on this from a fan's perspective. The thing that frustrates me though, is you say getting these guys back on track and time to develop. This game was week 1.
I know.
We had this discussion last week.
Exactly.
This is a big game, week 1, at South Bend against Notre Dame on national television. How do you not get these guys ready from spring ball and summer camp?
Right.
And have enough time to that's more than enough time.
Right.
Get these guys ready to play in a big time atmosphere in a big time game.
Right.
To me, that comes down to coaching.
Mm-hmm.
They had more than enough time to get these guys ready to go in a hostile environment and win the game.
Yep.
But everything, the beginning of the game, yes, I would say, it was
trying to feel each other out.
Yeah, trying to feel each other out.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as Notre Dame knew what they needed to do to win the game, it seemed like Michigan started scrambling.
Right.
They didn't know what to do.
Especially on offense.
Especially on offense. They did not know what to do.
Yep.
There was no creativity. There was no rhythm, as I've already talked about.
Right.
It was almost like, guess what? Notre Dame knows exactly what Michigan was doing every single play, and Michigan acted like they couldn't do anything about it.
Right. Unless we're on defense in the second half. Second half, the defense put the clamps on them, and that was
they did.
good.
But I don't think the Notre Dame offense is – or what are we writing articles about on Notre Dame offense being some prolific offense?
Right. And
they're
it wasn't.
not.
And
This is Brandon Wimbush, a quarterback who was atrocious last year, who Brian Kelly about got fired. Actually, the offensive coordinator, all the coordinators and all the assistant coaches got fired last year based off of that guy's performance.
Exactly. 49% completion percent coming into that game. He kind of did the same thing anyway. So it's not like all he had to do is secure the edge on the zone read. So that was our biggest problem in the first half. But once we got that corrected, we just we needed a kickoff return for a touchdown to make things interesting, to gain some level of momentum. We need more big plays, apparently. That's what we need. Okay? Now, here's the other thing. 1.8 yards per rush. We attempted 33 rushes, which is a good number. At least we tried.
Shemy, I'm not a math guy. That's not very good.
I know. I know. But when you average 1.8 yards per carry, you're not going to get anything done there. All right?
No.
Too many penalties early that put us in bad situations.
Yep.
Okay? And then we go 0 for 3 on 4th down. And that just killed us. Okay? And here I go. Here's my note. We need to get tougher as a team. All right? I got on the phone with Les Miles the other day watching LSU dismantle Miami.
Listen, Shemy,
huh?
That getting tougher as a team is not a team thing. That is a culture thing. That is
it's the same
passed
thing.
Off by the coaches.
Right. It's the same thing.
Culture,
team.
I completely agree, but it's a culture that has to start with the head coach.
I agree.
And listen, I'm a fan of Jim Harbaugh. I thought he was great for the University of Michigan.
Right.
But I am starting to question his coaching ability in the way that he is running this program. And if I'm a Michigan fan, if I'm a former Michigan player, I'm starting to question it myself because that team was not – Michigan football is tough. Ohio State football is tough. Right. That's what makes us great. Wisconsin is tough. Penn State is tough. Yep. Michigan State is tough. Those 5 teams, that's why they dominate the Big Ten. It's because they are tough, hard-nosed football teams.
Right.
So where is Michigan going? Like it's almost like they're regressing with Coach Harbaugh as a coach right now from a culture standpoint.
Right. Well, I think the culture deficiencies that we have are more on the offense.
Because, I agree with you.
Because culture should transcend into all sides of the football, offense, defense, special teams.
I completely agree with you.
And so I think we're looking at the offensive team not being as physical and competitive as the Michigan defense. Once the Michigan defense got a few of those bad plays out of their mouth, they freaking locked Notre Dame down.
And let's be honest, week one of the season, you're always, as a defense, you're always going to have miscues.
Right.
Always. It's going to happen.
And I agree. And so the fact that they held Notre Dame to 58 total yards in the second half, the Michigan defense is going to be fine. Okay?
We have known that, though. We know that they're going to be a great defense. It's this offense that has let Michigan down for what's it been? 2 years? When was the 1 versus 2 game here? 2016. 2016. Last year, and so far this year, that offense has been atrocious.
Right. Well, it starts up front, my friend.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say, and so we're going to go back to. I mean, you got to do something to spark the emotions of the offensive team. Yeah. All right. And the only way to do that is to threaten playing time, to say who really wants it bad enough, all right? If we are not going to get production out of the running attack, we're going to take a look at our offensive line depth chart to see who is ready to step up and contribute on a much higher level than what we got in the first game, all right? So I've been clear to make these recommendations for what I think we need to do to get the attention of our offensive team, all right? If we choose not to do that, I think we're starting off on the wrong foot because we need veteran leadership on the offense, all right? If we're not going to get it, we're going to go to the younger players, all right? Bo used to take guys on opposite sides of the ball. If you're on offense, oftentimes they'd put you on defense, all right? There's guys running around out there that are in the coaching profession who said, hey, if we're not going to get this done, we're going to take an Eric Campbell who's coaching at Delaware now. You're going to be wide receiver? Well, you're going to play safety now, all right? If you're Brad Cochran and you're a cornerback, well, you're a wide receiver, you're going to play cornerback now. There's going to be some things that Jim has to do that are drastic that is going to get the attention of the players on offense so we can get something done, all right? Here we go.
And what if he doesn't?
We're screwed.
We got problems. Yeah, what if he doesn't?
We got problems.
Do you start questioning, is Jim Harbaugh the right man to be the coach?
Well, we're not going to talk about that. We have a season to get involved with.
But I think that's a serious question because if
there's no doubt it's a serious question, but it's a question that's not going to get answered right now. It's only going to get answered by seeing production on the field.
Shemy, I totally understand your take,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I totally understand your take.
We're going to take a break as soon as you comment. Okay.
I have a quick question for Don. Don, we know Shemy, right? Shemy's a Michigan man, been around the program. From a fan standpoint, what is the honest take on Jim Harbaugh?
Do you want the consensus, or do you want my take?
I want the consensus. That's what I want. 'Cause let's be honest, majority normally rules, right?
True.
Yeah. I think the overall consensus is people are getting worried. People look at how much money Harbaugh is being paid. They look at in the production. I guess in the regression over the last 18 games, we're 9-9.
Right.
So that's what they look at right now. And when we brought in Jim Harbaugh and paying him the money that we're paying him, people are expecting championship. And we haven't done that yet.
Yep.
So I think that's one thing. But I will give my take on it. I believe that results are due this year.
Year 4.
I believe just based off of his recruiting classes, based off of him being in year 4, I believe this is the year we need to start seeing results. We need to be beating our rivals and competing and at least winning a Big Ten championship. I believe this is about time.
Yep.
And if over the next year or two that doesn't happen, then we've got to ask ourselves some serious questions. That's kind of where I am right now.
I totally agree with you, except here's the problem. When a coach takes over, really his first 2 years are with the previous coach's recruits. Year 3 and year 4 is when your guys are playing. Your guys are starting to come through. Year 3 and year 4, like you just said, is 9-9. These are his guys now. These are his guys that he recruited and he brought to University of Michigan. Mm-hmm. He is 9-9 with those guys. To me, that is a huge problem. And I agree. This is make it or break it for him, right? And Don, you hit the nail on the head. You got to start winning the big games. You got to start beating your rivals.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, I was on this show last week, and you thought it was going to be a good game. I thought Michigan was going to clobber them because that was my take, right?
Too.
I thought they were going to demolish them in South Bend.
Yep.
Well, now I'm starting to really think, does Jim Harbaugh make it through the year? Because this is a game that, in my mind, these next 5 games are easy games for the University of Michigan.
And
easier.
We should win
right?
them.
You should win them, right?
No doubt.
They had to get up for this game. Game 1. This was your game you have to get up for, right?
Yep, exactly.
And they are flat. They were completely flat. To me,
on offense.
Yes, on offense, yeah. But still, even from a team standpoint, yes, the defense played great, but the defense is a good defense. They're a great defense,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But there was still no big play made by the defense.
Right.
There was still no excitement throughout the team,
right.
which to me raises huge question marks. And you're starting to have players that are transferring from the program that are starting to talk bad about this head coach.
Right, exactly. All right, we've had enough.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back. The Rivalry Classic Football Show from College Traditions on Lane in the shadows of Ohio Stadium. We'll be right back. Go Blue.
Powerball. Don't get caught without one.
The Rivalry, a historic showdown between 2 great teams and 2 passionate fan bases. This season, join Germain Honda of Dublin and Germain Honda of Ann Arbor as we relive the greatest moments in the history of the game, with special offers for listeners. Discover Honda's award-winning lineup of cars and SUVs, like the 2017 CR-V, starting at just over $24,000. But rest assured, whether you're in Ann Arbor or Columbus, you can count on Germain Honda to deliver the right car, the right price, the right way.
It really is the difference between winning and losing, being able to get your hands inside, defeat blockers, and it works at all positions and all skill levels. I'm Joey Bosa. See the difference to your game.
right, welcome back. The Rivalry Classic Football Show. The great Zach Boren, Schembechler here. We finally get to talk about something more uplifting, like the Ohio State offense.
Nice.
You
like
you
it.
talk about polar opposites compared to the offensive squad up in Ann Arbor.
Polar opposite. I don't think you could get much different, Shemy.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And when you consider you have a guy under center who is going into his second game as a starter,
Yep.
and he looks like he's a first-round draft pick, probably a top 5 pick.
He really did, didn't he?
Oh my goodness!
Let's go back to your scouting days real quick. I've always wanted to talk to you about this because I've never asked you for your scouting report on me back in the day because I know you had to have had one because you were.
I kind of gave it to you.
Come on, you were in the scouting department when I was coming out, Shemy.
Yeah, I know.
So what, as a former scout, you watched that game. What goes through your mind?
So you have a guy. When I'm evaluating quarterbacks, obviously you notice the physical talent right up front, okay?
Yep.
You've got size. You've got an excellent release point, all right? You've got good athleticism for a drop-back type quarterback. The thing that makes him rare to me is the idea that he is in total control of his decisions, okay?
Completely agree with you.
He gets back there, and it's 1, 2, 3. The decision has been made. The ball is out, okay?
Yep.
And his accuracy is good, not great yet, but it's very good, okay?
Yeah.
Now, you have an array of offensive talent on the outside in these receivers. He's got a plethora of options available to him, all right? He takes great comfort in that, and I just think that lends itself to the type of confidence that he has coming into his second game as a starter. This guy's very different. You know, this guy isn't like a guy who's a redshirt freshman, because technically you could call him a redshirt freshman when you consider the amount of experience that he has.
Yeah, I guess you could.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, he's been in the program for a long time, and he's been sitting waiting for JT to graduate and
Yeah,
move
I guess
on.
you could call him a redshirt freshman,
But I will say this. All the preparation that he has done up until this time is certainly paying off. And go ahead.
I completely agree with you. I think it goes to show, actually, to me, it goes deeper than that. To me, it goes to show how good of a mentor JT Barrett was.
No doubt.
Because, granted, you know, he's been in the program.
Right.
Obviously, Ryan Day has had his hands on him.
Yes.
But he has still seen the way that JT Barrett prepares.
Right.
He has worked under JT Barrett
Excellent point.
out on the practice field each and every day for the past 2, 3 years, whatever it has been.
Yep.
So I think it goes to show the kind of mentor and man that JT Barrett was to Dwayne Haskins, because he comes in here and acts like he's been starting for the past 3 years.
Exactly.
I mean, he comes out like a senior with being the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy.
Right. I agree. Now, we have to play a full season, all right?
No doubt. No doubt.
And we got to
completely
wait
agree
to
with
see
you.
what happens from here on out. And we haven't gotten to the difficulty of the schedule yet, all right? I'm not going to put a whole lot of emphasis on the lack of ability on the Oregon State defense. That was a pedestrian defense if I've ever seen one, all right? They ran circles around them, all right? When you have 8.3 average per play on offense,
Yes.
that is unheard of in college football. We're at 7.1 per rush with technically 2 first-round running backs, all right?
I
And
think
then you
easily
have
2 first-round running
two
backs.
first-round running backs, 10.2 yards per pass with a first-round quarterback and probably 2 first-round wide receivers.
Yeah.
When you really think about it.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Yeah. If not, these guys are all going to play.
No,
All
yeah,
right?
for sure.
These guys are all going to play. I know of 5 wide receivers that have NFL quality talent that are going to get drafted and make teams.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's talent, it's rhythm, synchronicity.
Yep.
And when you have an offensive line, and we talked about this last week, when you have a Michael Jordan, a 6'7" center, who actually has excellent feet and excellent balance, I'm watching this wall of an offensive line. You talk about setting the tone at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
You could run a 3 and 5 step
Yeah.
pro style offense and still have time to make any decision you want to
No,
make.
you easily could, but I think it also goes back to our conversation we just had earlier about Michigan and Jim Harbaugh,
Yeah.
you still have 2 brand new starting offensive linemen
Right.
on here.
I know.
You're only returning 3 out of the 5. It's not like all 5 are coming back.
I
you
know. I agree.
2 of these guys are brand new starters to the offensive line.
Right.
The first game ever starting.
Right.
Right in Ohio Stadium.
Right.
And they still go out and are able to do the things that they did.
The left tackle. That was one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mumford, right?
Yeah, Mumford, and then Pridgeon, the right guard.
Right. Yep. And I just think, part of that's culture now.
Yep.
I mean, part of that is understanding the expectations here at Ohio State, and it's that culture. It's exactly the way Bo and Woody coached back in the day.
Yes, I completely agree with you.
And I just think, and give credit to Urban Meyer. We'll get into this discussion later on. I have a question, and I want people on social media to comment about it, and we'll get to it later. But I want to pose it right now. From an Urban Meyer perspective, would you rather coach a week of practice or coach in the game? What do you think?
I think week of practice.
I agree.
And the reason why I say this is because my dad always told me and always taught me, and he learned this from his former college coach, who you may know, is that the way you practice, I will know how you perform in the game. Our dad, my dad, and, it would come to my brothers and I's practice.
The 5th leading tackler in Michigan history.
He is, yes.
Still, to this
would
day.
come to our practice in college on Tuesdays and Wednesdays when you have pads on and you're hitting and whatnot.
Yeah.
And by the end of practice on Wednesday, he would tell us, I know how you're going to play in the game on Saturday.
Exactly.
And he was always right.
Exactly.
Because preparation is key in this game.
Yep.
You practice to win the game. That's what you do. You win the game in practice each and every week. Granted, you have to go out and execute on Saturday, but if you have a business-like approach and you have a great week of practice, it is going to translate into the game come Saturday.
Right. No doubt in my mind. Well, hey, I want everybody to comment on that because I think it's an interesting question. We did pose that. We put a poll
I mean,
out
I may
there.
be wrong.
No, I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah,
I don't think you're wrong, in all honesty, but I want to hear alternative perspectives on it. Okay?
I agree. I'm saying you and I may be the
And
minority on this.
I don't think so. I think we're in the majority, in all
We'll
honesty.
see.
But the one thing I will say is, and I've heard people have this opinion about it, is when you come game day, you carry on a little bit different attitude than you do in practice. Okay, there's
agree.
a little bit more nervous tension, and one would think that wouldn't filter into the mindset of a coach, but I think sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think you have to know, and this is why I think practice is absolutely true, because you have an outstanding coaching staff. You have trust in that coaching staff, and you know they're doing all the right things that's going to prepare you to get ready for the game so that when you get to the game, it's just normal. All right?
I agree with you, and I definitely think there's tension that coaches carry over into a game, especially a big game.
Right.
Trust me, Coach Meyer, you can tell he's intent. You can sometimes tell the difference between a big game and a game, right? The intensity that he brings is second to none.
Right.
But I also go back to the very first thing we talked about, and I think you're exactly right, because I think we saw that tension get the most of Jim Harbaugh Saturday night.
Right.
I think he coached that game a little too tense.
Yep.
And I think it showed, and I think it showed in his team.
Right.
Because how many times have we heard a team takes on the personality of their coach?
Always.
Right? Always. So I think you're right. It can go both ways.
Right.
In a tense game, and that's what I worry about Ohio State going to TCU, right?
Right.
Oregon State, okay.
Right.
Rutgers, okay.
Right.
Ryan Day and that coaching staff going on the road at TCU
For the first time. Yep.
That's when, if things get tense,
Right.
you never know what can happen.
Right, absolutely. And we'll get into the Ohio State defense because, I kind of showed my concerns going into this season with all this new defensive personnel, and I had some concerns about the linebacking core. And I think some of that bore itself out. Now, I'm sure you'll have some comments about that in the secondary and things like that. But if the offense keeps going at this clip, the defense is going to be giving a little bit of leeway.
And come on, that front four on defense may be the best in the country.
I agree.
I mean, the best.
I agree. You've got, it's going to be so interesting to watch these players come out in the draft over the next 2 years,
Well, I think you have the number 1 overall pick in Bosa.
More than likely.
Yeah.
Because what he does, he gives, and this is just from the NFL scout's perspective, he can play in a 4-3 or a 3-4. He can play in either one. You know?
You are exactly right. He easily can. You have a guy like Draymond Jones, who in my mind is a top 3 defensive tackle.
Right.
I think will be a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
I mean, Chase Young is still really young, you know?
Yeah. But
whatever.
Freak athlete.
Freak athlete. And, I mean, they're just so deep.
Yeah.
I mean, you can name 6 or 7 guys like you already did the wide receiving core.
Right.
6 or 7 guys who rotate on the defensive line that are going to play football on Sundays.
No doubt. Absolutely. So that I give a lot of credit to the recruiting staff at Ohio State. Goodness gracious. My man Pantone does one heck of a job, does he not?
Oh, Pantone's the man.
Huh?
He is the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how much film he breaks down.
A lot. I've seen it.
Yeah.
A lot. 200 games a day.
I love it.
Him and his team.
That's awesome.
200 games a day.
Yeah, that's a great staff, by the
Yeah.
way. And we talk about, identifying talent, recruiting talent. Ohio State has proven it year in and year out, and that's why you see this stacked depth chart year in and year out. So give great credit to Urban Meyer for having the foresight.
No, I completely agree with
Yeah,
you. I mean,
absolutely.
I
can't say the same about Ann Arbor, in all honesty.
I mean, yeah. I mean, here's the thing about Michigan from a defensive standpoint is their front 4 is probably top 5 in the country, right? Really good, really good. Devin Bush, I think, is a great linebacker, really good.
Yep.
Their problem is, I know they say defense wins championships, which your father made well known, right?
Yep.
But listen, at some point the offense has to cooperate.
Well, and so that is very true. And so this is why, and I think this is why when Bo came, he's an offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
He's an offensive line coach by trade. Is that he understood that if you can control ball position and time of possession,
Yep.
okay, and when you do that and you limit the amount of snaps that your defense has to take, it's going to make it a better defense, okay?
Yes.
So when you have Ohio State, they had 83 snaps from scrimmage, 83.
It's a hell of a lot of snaps,
It's Ohio snaps. How many are left over for the defense? Not many.
What'd they have?
Huh?
50-something?
50-something.
Yeah,
So
probably.
when you only have to defend the ball 50 times, you should be a better defense,
Yeah.
okay?
You should be a really good defense.
Yeah, and so that's the whole mindset. Defense wins championships, but the offense, and you're right, has a critical role to say we have to grind out the clock, run the football, play time of possession. And if you do that, you're going to help your defense more than you realize, all right? It's so funny because when I grew up going to practice, and you've seen this, all right, they always put the defense in the most disadvantageous situation. That's an interesting word.
Yeah, they always do.
Is you always put them in the worst case scenario. And so the defense, so Lloyd Carr would be over there and say, hey, just give us a freaking place to stand, all right? And it's through those practices that you develop that mindset, that gristle, and that toughness. And once you got to the games, and then your offense is just pounding the other defense into submission. Hey, we got to be out here for 50 snaps. That's what makes it so easy.
Yeah. You are right.
So, anyway. All right. Hey, we've had some interesting questions. Our man Jared Rodriguez, here's what he says. Talent-wise, we have them. These next 2 games, honestly, they need to experiment and see what's great, not just good, because the next 2 games should we should win easily. And I agree. We're not going to get off into the Michigan
so this is from a Michigan perspective,
right?
Correct?
Exactly. He's a Michigan guy.
Okay.
We got Michigan guys listening in.
No, I figured. You just didn't say.
Right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just going right to our comments because Jared's all over the place. We're proud of him. He wants Pep Hamilton fired, by the way. But Pep's not calling the plays.
Harbaugh's calling the plays.
Exactly.
Okay, yes.
So let's just keep that in mind. All right. Hi to our friend John Gindia. You might remember Gindia.
I don't think I do.
Well, he played there before you were there.
Okay.
Great Michigan man. We call him Haas. He used to be the director of the U of M Club of Detroit, where they had the bust every year.
Okay.
So that was always a big deal.
I somewhat agree with that comment. Don't fully, because testing with the young guys, I hate to say it, the guys that you know are going to be playing in the majority of the games are the ones who, guess what, have to play.
I know.
Right? You can't just test at this point. You did not go to Notre Dame and demolish them on
Right.
their home field. And now it's like, hey, we got 2 games to see what the young guys can do if we ever need some depth.
Right.
No, guess what? At this point, you're not building depth. At this point, you are building a football team that can compete in the
Right.
rest of the season.
Right. Exactly.
It's not time to be cute right now. Granted, if you think some of those
Well-
young guys are guess what? If you think that those guys are going to play, like you said,
Right.
there's a difference in experimenting young guys,
Right.
or guess what? You lost your starting job,
Right.
next man up.
Well,
And
next
that guy
man up,
is-
or the young guy, you are our best option.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. If the
Yeah.
young guy is the next man up, then
Right.
I completely agree.
Right.
But there is a difference with experimenting with young guys or older guy or starting guy, whatever it is. You are terrible. Next man up, and next man is a freshman. Then okay, so be it.
Right. Exactly. Anyway. All right. I want to talk about Mike Weber, okay? You talk about a guy that showed great resilience battling through injuries last year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another first-round back, okay?
He is.
Another
And I
first-round
know
back.
Michigan faithful can't stand that guy. I understand.
Well,
But
there's some stories that are involved in recruiting that maybe our friends in Ann Arbor did not handle appropriately,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Because, I mean, you can't get mad at the kid. His
No.
head high school coach is Thomas Wilcher, who played for Michigan.
Yeah.
You know?
You
The
can't be upset.
The table is set for if you want to get a guy to go to Michigan. So Donovan Peoples-Jones, he went to Michigan.
Yeah.
He's a Cass Tech guy. You should be able to get all those guys in state. And
It's
keep
in your
them state.
backyard.
It's in
Go
your,
get 'em.
It's in your backyard. All right? And I'm not going to go into the details of what happened in recruiting, but make no mistake, when you're Mike Weber, who actually committed to Michigan first
Yep.
and then changes his mind, why does he do that? Huh? It's a legitimate question. All right? Maybe we'll have a conversation with Tyrone Wheatley about that. Huh? Maybe there's a reason why Tyrone Wheatley is not there anymore.
Was about to say there's a reason why the kid decommitted and came to Ohio State.
Right.
I mean, wait, come on. And it's something that I think the normal fan bases. Well, and I'm not hating on Michigan. Ohio State does the same thing.
Right.
There's some things the fan bases don't fully understand that you and I do understand
Right.
because of the access that we've had.
Right.
And the fan bases want to hate on these kids, but listen, these kids a lot of times make their decisions with their hearts.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
Some kids want to be first-round draft picks. Some kids want the hype of
Right.
wherever. Some kids, some kids want because it's a sweet jersey.
Right.
Granted, there's all kinds of different
Right.
jerseys. Or there's all kinds of different, reasons why these kids choose the school that they go to.
Right.
But 100% of the time, it comes down to their heart. They're like, hey,
Exactly.
this is where I want to be.
Well, and not that that's wrong, Zach. Okay? Now, you
No.
want to be objective in regards to what your prospects are because
Yeah.
all these kids, they come to Michigan, Ohio State
Yeah.
with a chance to play in the NFL.
No,
all right?
I agree.
And,
but
and maybe that's a little misguided.
No,
right?
I agree. But Shemy, here's the other thing that
Yeah.
that I'm gonna go. A lot of these kids come to Ohio State and Michigan because of the tradition of the schools, right?
Right.
There's a lot of kids who understand the tradition,
Right.
but at the end of the day, tradition is, it's a huge thing, it's a massive thing. But at the end of the day, these kids form relationships with coaches,
Right.
And I say these
And
guys
guys on the team.
and guys on the team, and I say these guys make their decision with their heart.
Right.
There's some kind of relationship that is built that makes their heart pull a certain way.
Right.
Right? There's a
Right.
reason why my brother chose Michigan over Ohio State, even though he wanted to go to Ohio State from the beginning.
Right.
There's a reason why he went to Michigan. It's because guess what?
Bo
Schembechler would not leave him alone, and Bo meant that much to Justin that Justin said, "You know what? Okay, I
Right.
get it.
Exactly.
Bo, you mean more to me than Ohio State does to
Right,
me.
right.
So guess what? Your relationship means more, so that's where I'm going.
Right. Even though Bo wasn't the coach.
Right, exactly.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But these kids have the same thing. There's a reason why Mike Weber
Right.
chose to go to Michigan, and you kind of put it out there, right? There's a reason why some coaches aren't there anymore at the University of Michigan.
Right. Well, Tyrone left. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can surmise as to the reasons why he left. All right. And now his son's not even there. He transferred. He's going to Sacred Heart now, of all places. So I'm going to go back to one.
Great academics, sir. Great academics.
Well, that's true. Sacred Heart does have
I
great
know,
academics.
I know.
But I don't know if that was his motivation.
I
all right?
know.
Sacred
I
Heart,
know.
FCS, mid-major,
Yeah,
same league as Youngstown State.
Shemy was a little bit of a joke.
I know that. I know that. But FCS, it's FCS football.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they have scholarships out there, to be honest with you.
I don't think so.
It's interesting nonetheless. But I'm going to go back to the old theory, and this is what Bo made famous. Those who stay will be champions,
Yeah.
okay? If they're not staying, what are we? What are we
Yep.
going to become, you
Yep.
know? That's been the mantra for many, many years. Now, the funny thing was, Bo, when he made that comment, it wasn't necessarily about winning a Big Ten championship. Obviously, that was the goal.
Yeah.
But it was to develop that attitude.
Well, it's about the person being a champion, right?
Exactly.
Is that guess what? When you
Yeah.
if you put in all 4 years here at the University of Michigan, no matter if you are the starting quarterback or the
Exactly.
walk-on 4-string guy, guess what? If you stay here, you will
Right.
finish here a champion.
Yeah, and you'll be a champion,
Yeah.
and you'll win a Big Ten championship if you stick it out. But you'll be a champion in life. But make no mistake, when you're Bo Schembechler and you coach at the same school for 21 years, and 13 of those years is a Big Ten championship, he stuck to his word.
Yeah. No, I agree with
I
you.
mean, those guys, every guy that played for Bo went to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I just think when you bring a guy in and you're convinced that he's the right guy for Michigan, and you know that guy can help you win, whether he's a coach or a player, you get those guys to stay, and you turn them into great players and great coaches. And that's exactly what Bo did.
Yeah.
No,
I totally agree with you. And I think it all comes full circle because this was a Bo thing. But back to what we first started talking about, it's a Mike Weber thing. It's an Ohio State thing.
Yes.
Because guess what? He could have left last year. He saw what a true freshman in J.K. Dobbins did last year for Ohio State.
Right.
He battled a bunch of injuries. Even when he came back, he wasn't getting the carries that he was getting before, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
He could have left, but he decided to stay and become a champion, right?
Exactly.
And so now you see kind of the fruits of his labor from this past offseason, getting healthy,
no doubt.
Really grinding in the weight room.
Right.
You saw his coming out party, right?
Oh, my goodness.
The thing is with Ohio State, what do you do moving forward?
Right.
I mean, you have two guys who, in my mind, should both get 20 carries a game.
Right.
That's 40 offensive snaps.
Exactly.
You have a quarterback that we just saw that probably should be throwing the ball anywhere between 25 and 30 times a game. Right there, that's 65 to 70 snaps.
Yeah.
That's not promised every game.
I know, but they had 83.
They had 83. but listen, that's not promised.
I know, exactly.
That's the hard part.
It is the hard part. And the bottom line is, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And when you consider you have a Mike Weber who's a junior that could potentially
I think
come
you're
out.
going to go blue over there.
Hey, go blue. God, down here on Lane Avenue, a Michigan man. That's awesome. We need this guy to come over here and ask a question. Huh? Go blue. Hey, we'll be back. It's guys like him that are going to afford us a chance to win the championship, okay? Huh?
That's the same guy who last Sunday morning was saying, fire Jim Harbaugh.
Are you sure?
Come on, yes.
Is he your best friend?
Yeah, I know him.
What's his name?
I don't know, Jim.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Nice little segue there. All right. But again, you have enough space in between experience. You have a junior. You have a sophomore.
Yep.
And I think it'll all play out as long as guys understand they buy into the team concept. And if they make a run into the playoffs, make the Final Four, win a national championship potentially, it's all worth it.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Because, and I'll give you the NFL perspective, understanding the depth chart and understanding guys are getting enough snaps, all right?
Yep.
And so even if J.K. is only going to get 13 snaps, that could be enough to evaluate him on understanding what is going on, all right? The NFL, like when we go in and we investigate a player that we're going to draft and we're going to put plenty of homework in, all right? We can look at 4 years of film on a player, okay? So even if he doesn't get the amount of touches that you want in one particular game, if you look at the entire body of work, you're going to understand the guy's going to be an upgrade, all right? Let's talk about, I'll give you an example. Priest Holmes never started a game at Texas because he backed up Ricky, University of Texas. He turns into a Pro Bowl player, has a great career.
Yeah.
Why can't you evaluate under those same circumstances? Huh?
No, I listen. I agree. There's a reason why scouts are at practice every single day during the season.
Well, they're watching boatloads of film too.
They're watching film, and guess what? They're coming in there doing their homework, talking to the trainers, talking to the academic staff, talking to the coaches.
Yep.
They're seeing how that guy's practicing, seeing how he moves up close.
Yep.
Kind of the game film, and I may be wrong. I wasn't a scouting profession, but you were. The game film is just kind of hey. Okay, what we see is true. It's just kind of like a light goes off, right? Like, okay, yep, that's right. But
well, you have to look at the totality of the film. See, to me, the film is going to present 75% of your decision.
Okay.
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 And you can only go to so many practices and so many games live. It's hard to make a decision over one live game. Now, you're going to go back and see multiple games. But when you can watch 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game films at a time and do an evaluation, that's going to bring you closer to home on getting the right decision than anything else, okay? We used to say in the NFL, I mean, everybody loves the combine. Everybody wants to run fast in the 40-yard dash. In so many ways, the combine actually provided 15% of the final decision. And most of that was based on medical, okay? Now, if a guy goes out,
is that why I wasn't drafted, Shemy?
Could be. I'm not going to say.
Come on,
but,
Shemy.
But here's the thing: when you go through and you do all this work in the fall, and even the general managers are hitting the road. The combine, the major decisions that come out of the combine is: does he pass his physical? Does he have any medical history that potentially could be concerning? And you're going to get more out of that than anything.
Yeah,
the 40-yard dash, I mean, we're sitting up there with our stopwatches up there at the RCA Dome, and 90% of the time, the guy's going to run what we thought he was going to run.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we do estimated speeds when we watch the film.
Yes and no. See, I think the 40-yard dash is the biggest lie in football. Because I know some guys who run 4.3s, 4.4s in the 40-yard dash. You get on the field, they're 4.6, 4.7 guys all day. And I also know there's.
Give me an example. We gotta go to break, but give me an example.
Oh, you saying like a name or a position?
A guy that runs fast, and those guys, they're out there now, but 90% of them, what they run in the 40, is going to convert to what you saw on film.
No, but I'm not going to name drop people because some of them were my teammates. But there were some guys who are really fast. They get on the.
Are they still playing in the NFL?
No.
Well, then what's it going to hurt?
Come on, Shemy. People watch this show. I'm a guy that people love. I'm a man of the people.
Well,
come on.
If
now.
there's a guy at Michigan, I mean, I would tell him if you couldn't run.
Hey, listen, I will tell you this. There's guys. I'll tell you this. There's guys that run in the 4.8s and 4.9s. That play like they run 4.5s on the field.
Well, it's based on instincts.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's why I think the 40's the biggest lie, because I think you have to look at game film to really determine speed.
True. Okay. We're going to discuss that on the other side of this commercial.
Okay.
Let's take a break. The Rivalry Classic Football Show in the shadows of Ohio Stadium at College Traditions. We'll be right back. Go Blue.
Powerball. Don't get caught without one.
The Rivalry, a historic showdown between two great teams and two passionate fan bases. This season, join Germain Honda of Dublin and Germain Honda of Ann Arbor as we relive the greatest moments in the history of the game, with special offers for listeners. Discover Honda's award-winning lineup of cars and SUVs, like the 2017 CR-V, starting at just over $24,000. But rest assured, whether you're in Ann Arbor or Columbus, you can count on Germain Honda to deliver the right car, the right price, the right way.
It really is the difference between winning and losing, being able to get your hands inside, defeat blockers, and it works at all positions and all skill levels. I'm Joey Bosa. See the difference in your game.
Rivalry Classic Football Show with Boren and Schembechler. We want people to comment. So everybody that's watching online, we don't have enough people watching online, but we're going to get better after we share this. But we want to comment about the coaching philosophy, because understand Urban's, he's back coaching the team during the week, but he doesn't go into the games.
Yep.
All right? I would submit that really this is only a one-game suspension because it's all about practice week, right?
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree. See, there's the right fans. We got Ohio State fans giving you the boo sign as they walk by, Shemy. That's really how it should be.
It shows you how, we've had all these Michigan
I know.
people
What's
out
up with
here.
that? Finally, someone
What's up
gives you a
with
hard
that?
time.
I mean, what's going on with the Ohio State faithful?
Yeah, do you know what? You say it's really only a one-game suspension, but it's not. I mean, come on. Being a head coach, yes.
But you're coaching during the week.
Yes, practice is huge.
Yep.
But you also want to be there for the follow-through, right? You want to be there for those in-game decisions, in-game adjustments. There's a bunch of that stuff that goes on during a game that is part of what a coach does and part of what a coach loves to do.
Right.
You know, you're saying, okay, you're right. Being at practice is great.
Right. So
but this is more pulling at his heart.
We'll call it a 1.5 game suspension then.
No, at least call it 2. At least call it 2. He's missing 3 games.
Okay. Well,
2.
They didn't miss him a whole lot in the first game.
No, I know, but it's still he wanted to be there. You know,
there's no doubt he wants to be there. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my dad because obviously he wrote his book at the end by Bacon.
Yeah. Hold on, before you go on this tangent, which I want you to, I want you to answer a question while you go on this tangent you're about to say.
Yep.
Is would Bo have been accepting of coaching 2 weeks of practice and missing 3 games?
It depends what part of the season.
Oh,
because
come on,
if we're talking about Ohio State, he talked about it in the book. He would have been fine to coach the whole week of practice and not coach the Ohio State game. It's in the book.
Oh.
It is in the book.
Shemy, you know your dad pretty dang well, and I know your dad pretty dang well.
It's what he said. It's what he said, Zach. Bo's Lasting Lessons by Bacon?
Listen.
It's right in there.
Listen, I know, but Bo...
Hold
on. This is what I know. Bo calmed down a lot more after his coaching career than when he was coaching.
Point taken.
If you ask him this question while he was coaching...
what you're saying is that he would have come to a different conclusion in 1998 as opposed to 1969.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I'll buy that.
Just like if you had if you write a book in 2035 about this season that Coach Meyer says, he's gonna be like, you know what? It was just really great that I was part of the practice. You know, you're right. I missed the games. It was fine.
Right.
You ask him that now?
Well, here's the thing.
He's furious.
Hey, go Blue. This is amazing.
That's the same lady you saw earlier.
I know.
You've seen 2 Michigan fans.
It doesn't matter. The fact that she keeps coming back.
Oh, come on, Shemy.
She
didn't even notice you.
Huh?
She didn't even notice you.
She did there. I got her attention.
You got her attention.
All right, keep going, though. This is a fascinating discussion.
No, what I'm saying
really
is U.S. Bo, while he was coaching, you ask Coach Meyer right now while he's coaching.
Right.
No, they're furious they're missing the games.
Of course not. But if you had to choose, he wants practice week, all right? He wants practice week.
Yeah,
you have to choose.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
You're right. He wants practice week. I guarantee you this, though. You were to give him the option of practice or game for TCU, I bet he'd pick game.
Right.
I would pick game if I was a coach.
Would you?
Yeah.
Miss
I really
practice
would.
that week?
Yeah, I really would.
Why?
Because do you know what? When it comes to a big game like that, I would have so much trust in my offense and defense coordinator and the coaches that they would put together a solid game plan because they know what to do.
Right.
That guess what? Come game time, I'm in charge of the team. I can get the team going. I can, they can feed off my energy. And like we said, the team takes the energy and takes the personality of the coach.
Especially on game day.
Especially on game day.
Yeah.
So in a big game on the road.
I would agree with that.
On the road, I would want to be there.
Right. I would agree with that. All right. That's very interesting. Especially on the road.
On the road, right? This isn't the horseshoe where the home team's on your side.
And the bottom line is they call this a neutral site game. This is not a neutral site game at all.
Come on now.
All right. Well,
how far? What from TCU's 45 minutes?
45 minutes.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. So
Come on, that's not a neutral site game. Yeah, do you know what they call a neutral site game? Because TCU Stadium couldn't hold the fans that are going to be at this game.
Zach, I'm not arguing with you.
I mean,
we're on the same page.
Yeah, they call it. Come on. That, right, ESPN, all these people are calling neutral site. I mean, come on.
It's not a neutral site.
Oh, it's crazy.
You never let me finish my sentence.
No, I know. I was agreeing with you, Shemy. It irritates me the national perspective that people have.
Oh, exactly. Well, we all know what we think about ESPN these days, don't we?
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Very true.
In many ways, ESPN has lost their way in regards to actually covering sports.
Ooh.
Have they not?
They've come a long way, haven't they?
Not since they first started. I mean, I'm looking for the days when Bob Lee was actually just a sportscaster.
God.
And he wasn't doing outside the lines.
I agree.
Because every time he goes on the outside the line, somebody gets thrown under the bus. Huh?
Everyone does. Every time ESPN's on nowadays, every single day someone gets thrown under the bus.
Right.
Today it was Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly.
Every day there's someone thrown under the bus. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
The day before that it was Nick Saban for the quarterback controversy. I mean, it's every single day.
I know. It's insane. And the bottom line is, like with the Le'Veon Bell thing, it's what does the team think? You know, and the fans got to have their opinions.
I don't know. The players are coming out with this opinion stuff, which they should stay out of it. But it's just ESPN just blowing it up.
I know. I agree. So anyway, so I just
are we getting on a game previews? Is that what we're getting on to?
We're gonna get on that in the last segment.
Oh, that's the last segment.
If you look at our sheet here, that's what we got going on.
I don't pay attention much. I just kind of wing it.
Yeah, no, it's
that could have been on my scouting report.
It could
back in the day.
It could have been.
Yeah, wings it, but gets the job done.
But we talk about just the decision between a game or a practice. You can't have these decisions unless you have confidence in your coaching staff. When you talk about game planning and scripting practice and having the right plays and having your scout team ready to go, I mean, don't underestimate the importance of the scout team and what they do, okay?
Yep.
Because you know what that's like. Every guy that's ever played is 99% of the time they've had to serve on scout team at some level.
No doubt.
And in many ways, you're setting the tone for how the rest of your career is going to go, all right? I got a great story. Do you ever remember old Alex Agassi?
No, Andre Agassi.
No, Alex Agassi was one of my dad's closest friends in coaching, okay?
At Michigan?
Yeah. He actually coached the scout team. So he retired. He was one
What do you have coach Big Mike?
Here's the thing with Alex Agassi. The last time the Cleveland Browns won a world championship, Alex Agassi was a two-way player for that team.
Oh, wow.
All right? And
when was he a scout team coach at Michigan?
So he got fired as the athletic director at Eastern Michigan, and he was going to retire. My dad got him out of retirement to coach the scout team at Michigan.
What years?
So this would have been mid to late 80s before Bo retired. Okay.
So Mike was gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who?
Mike, my dad.
Yeah, he was gone by then.
Gone.
Yep. And so Alex, he came up with these really ingenious philosophies about being on the practice squad, the demonstration team, and he actually coined a name for the team. He called them the Fools, F-O-O-L-S. You know what Fools stand for?
No.
The Fraternal Order of Offensive Luck. And can you imagine how those scout team defensive players just ate that up?
Yeah.
And showed great effort and determination in getting the offense ready, knowing they weren't going to ever play on Saturdays. He turned the practices into a game. And it's just guys like that come up with that mindset to say, hey, you don't have a lot to play for on scout team, but you get a – and they made up these hats. They wore these hats to and from practice.
Fools hats.
Yeah, fools. Fools. And,
I like it.
And because all the players internally knew it, it was a great rallying cry.
Yep.
And so I always thought that was really cool. And so Alex, there's another story. He was the last player to play for the Cleveland Browns World Championship. He is one of only 5 players in the history of college football to be an All-American at 2 different schools. All right?
Really?
Because he served in World War II. Okay?
Look at that. Where at? What
Illinois
schools?
Illinois and Purdue in the Big Ten Conference.
Really?
You should go Google him, Alex Agassi, one of my dad's very best friends.
Yeah. I'll look him up.
That's really cool stuff. All right, we can start talking about this next game. Rutgers coming to town.
Preview?
Yeah. We're gonna do. Jake, were you able to get that recording from KJ? Too low? I thought it was. All right, we'll get to that eventually. But let's we're gonna have the GS Advisory High School Player of the Week.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
Who
was it?
Quarterback.
Who was it?
We can talk about it now. All right.
Yeah.
So KJ Raudabush, running back. He's a quarterback, but they ran the spread system. He's in Tipton High School, which is about 30 minutes north of Indianapolis. All right.
Okay.
So here.
What's our area of this high school
We're
player?
national.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
National.
Yeah. We're in we're about ready to go into 27 states here with GES.
Oh, so we can pick a kid from all over.
Yeah.
How much film do we watch to pick this?
Boatload.
Really?
Yeah. I watched the first 3 games on this kid for this year, and I've watched 8 games from last year. So
it's not their weekly performance.
Huh?
It's not their weekly performance.
Once you find out what his stats were from the last game,
yeah.
Yes, you're gonna find out. Okay.
Okay.
So here's KJ, quarterback, out of Tipton High School. They beat Twin Lakes 56-35, run their record to 3-0.
Okay.
Right? Now he's a quarterback. Okay.
Yeah.
So here are his stats.
Yep.
He accounted for 8 touchdowns in one game.
Huh.
7 of them were rushes. The last one was a pass.
That's pretty good.
He had 18 rushes for 213 yards. I watched the film.
Yeah.
And so we account for yards after contact.
Yep.
And so I went back and I did the stats. 45% of his yards were after first contact.
Wow. So you're looking at over
He is
100 yards.
He's tougher than nails, all right?
Wow.
He's 5'11". He's over 200 pounds.
Okay.
And I'm not so sure that he won't be a running back in college. Now, he's actually developed as a quarterback too. But
a little too short for that.
Well, it depends. I mean, Russell Wilson's 5'9". Okay.
Russell Wilson's taller than that. Come on, Shemy.
I measured him myself. He's 5'9.5". He is. Now,
if you measure him at 5'9.5", now I know why I really didn't get drafted. You probably measured me at 5'6".
We can measure you. I got my bag. We can get this situated after the show's
Let's do
over.
it, man. Give me a workout. I'm ready to go,
It's
Shemy.
not a workout.
No,
I will. We'll go into college traditions. We'll pick a wall, and I'll measure you.
All right.
And we'll talk about it on next week's show.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So if you're frustrated, too bad, because it's going to be accurate height. Okay?
Well, I know what my accurate height was at Pro Day.
Right. What was it?
5'11" and 5'8".
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I was like, just give me 6 foot. Come
That's
on.
right. No, we're not going to do that.
Come on.
Huh?
3 A's? I mean.
You think that affected your professional career? No.
Yeah.
No.
Sure did.
No.
6 foot, there's a lot going with that.
I'll give you a bunch of examples. You know how tall London Fletcher was? Played in the league for 13
he was
years?
short.
Yeah.
Short. Yeah, he was short.
He was 5'9.5".
Yeah, that's a different time, though.
Right.
That's a different time.
He just retired just a few years ago.
8?
Huh?
8 years ago?
No.
Yeah, come on. He retired, I think, when I was still playing.
Huh?
Yeah.
He hadn't been gone that long. Maybe 5 years. Okay? We'll go back and check the record.
The great Redskins linebacker.
Now, and I'm sorry we couldn't get the recording right, but KJ, great kid. He's a 3.95 student.
Oh.
And
right.
he's a smart guy, really smart guy. And he's going to be able to do whatever he wants in college.
Yeah,
now,
where's he looking?
So probably Division II. All right,
okay.
He'll be a really good Division II player as a quarterback or a running back. But it wouldn't shock me if somebody took him as an FCS player, like say a Youngstown State or an Illinois State.
What's he's 5'11", and what's his weight?
5'11", 202.
Okay, so he's a little small.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Consider this. I mean, that last year at this time, he was 185 pounds. So he had a great offseason. Hit the weight room.
Maybe you need to put in a good word with Michigan. Maybe he can be that fullback.
No.
Yeah, come on.
Now, don't make fun of the kid now.
I'm not. I'm not. Listen. My heart is big for.
Well, how much did you weigh? How much did you weigh coming out of Pickerington?
245.
Yeah, so 202. Huh?
Okay.
And you knew you were going to be a fullback, right?
No, I came out as a linebacker.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right.
Came out as a linebacker.
And that's what Trust recruited you as, right?
Linebacker. Yep. And then there was the 5th-year senior fullback.
Right.
Graduated when I was coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 fullbacks fighting for the starting position.
Right.
And Coach Tressel approached me with the opportunity to compete against those guys because there was essentially 2 all Big Ten players at linebacker that were juniors.
Right.
That were about to be juniors, so I would have been sitting for at least 2 years.
Right.
And I jumped at the opportunity, so why not? And beat the 2 guys out.
Because you're a team guy.
I am a team guy.
Yep.
Beat the 2 guys out and started as a true freshman.
Right. Awesome. Outstanding.
And jump at opportunity.
You could have done the same thing at Michigan if Bo was still alive.
I could have.
Yeah.
Actually, I may have had a better career because I would have been there for Rich Rod, and I may have been able to run the ball a little bit. I would have been the Schmidt.
Well,
I would have been the Schmidt of West Virginia.
I don't think
back in the
so.
day. Come on now.
Especially
that's a Seattle Seahawks guy.
Especially after your brother left. Yeah, they probably didn't even recruit you, did they? Michigan didn't even recruit you coming out.
I did. I was committed to Michigan.
Were you really?
I was. I was committed to Michigan at one point.
Who recruited you?
Coach Carr. Andy Moeller.
Right. And this is before Rich Rod came in.
Before Rich Rod there. I committed to them after Coach Carr.
Right.
Coach Carr offered me as a freshman in
but
high school.
After Rich Rod got there, did anybody off Rich Rod's staff recruit you?
No.
So there you go.
No, they didn't. Well, they had me up there for visits. Yeah, they recruited me.
Right.
And then that was for they recruited me for 2 months. They did. They heavily recruited me for 2 months.
Yeah.
My brother left 2 months in. As soon
as
as
he
left,
it was all over.
Yeah, they aren't going to recruit me.
Of
Come on.
course not.
No.
Yeah. All right, good. So anyway, congratulations to KJ. Be sure to check us out. We'll put the website up on the Facebook page, www.gesadvisory.com. We are bringing the NFL scouting model to high school football. I think we're moving into Pennsylvania here next week.
Really?
We got a player in Pennsylvania.
Okay. I like it.
So eventually we're going to get to all 50 states. So it's pretty exciting stuff what we're doing. And we're the only scouting recruiting service in the country that actually breaks down high school game film. So we can get your talent right. We write the reports. We network with college coaches that are going to have an interest in your ability. And we put great emphasis on academics. So we got a bunch of guys who are really smart, like KJ, 395, cumulative, all the way through high school. All right? You know how hard it is to do that? Did you do that in high school?
No, Shemy, come on. No.
I didn't do that in high school.
No.
How about you, Jake? Did you do it? Oh! Yeah, but you still went to UC. Should have gone to Miami. All right, good.
The girls were too pretty for him at Miami.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Excellent point. But he ended up out kicking his coverage anyway.
Yeah,
right, Jake?
I'm not a frat guy.
Yeah, wasn't a frat guy. But
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know what she sees in you, but goodness gracious. Yeah, you hit the lottery on that one, buddy.
I know.
All right, absolutely.
All right, game preview.
All right, so let's do this. So Michigan is the late game this week.
They are.
Ohio State opens with Rutgers at 12 noon. Let's go.
No. I think it's reversed. Ohio State's
That's right.
3:30.
Michigan's
early.
at
noon. Yes.
Michigan is early.
You're right.
So we have a Western Michigan team that put up 35 points last week, and they have some level of production on offense. And the thing I've always said about Western Michigan, these are still PJ Flex players there. All right. Okay.
Yeah, they aren't playing like it, but yes, I would agree with you.
I know that. But
yes.
There's talent there, and because we believe in PJ Fleck and what he's going to do at Minnesota, there's still enough of that talent there. I mean, they had a guy drafted in the first round last year.
They did. Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Great player.
And I still think there's remnants of that talent still there. The fact that I forget who they played last week.
Syracuse.
They played Syracuse.
And their Syracuse quarterback went for over 200 yards rushing.
Right. Yeah. So there you go.
They better have more than 1.8 yards per carry.
Yeah, kind of like what KJ did over the weekend.
Exactly. You're right.
So
this is what I see. Obviously, it's the first game in the big house.
Right.
You know, Michigan faithful. God bless their souls. They're really good at forgetting really quickly and getting on to the next week, which is actually why I like the fan base. Because Ohio State, if Ohio State would have lost last week, there would not be as many people at the game this week. You would know that there was a loss.
That is true. Yeah.
Michigan, they're not. They're going to be there in full support.
Right.
But here's the thing. Michigan has to go into this game thinking that, hey, we have to blow these guys out.
I
agree. To send a message.
I agree.
This Western Michigan team, they're very susceptible to the run, as we saw that last week. They're big. The best, I guess, unit on their football team was their secondary going into the season. It was supposed to be the best secondary in the MAC conference. They experienced some injuries early on in camp.
Right.
I think those guys may actually be back this week. I'm not sure.
Right.
But it's one of those things where Michigan has to go out and send a message.
I agree.
You know, they have to find an identity of running the football.
Yep.
That is what Jim Harbaugh is
Yep.
known for. That's what Michigan football is known for.
And this is exactly how you prepare for a Mid-American Conference team that's going on the road for the second week in a row.
Yes.
And usually there's a letdown when you're a Mid-American Conference school after you open up on the road and you have to go on the road again the next week.
Yeah.
All right? I can't remember for the life of me, and I have to go back and look at the record books, how many Mid-American Conference teams went on the road into a Power 5 conference school and were able to win in week 2. I don't think it's very often. I don't think it's happened hardly at all.
Yeah.
Because I think there's an innate letdown.
Actually, I will tell you it has happened recently because I will name a team that has gotten beat recently by a MAC conference school. Actually, the past couple of years in week 2.
Okay.
The University of Illinois
Oh, that don't even count.
has gotten beat. Yes, they have gotten
Well, I think that program has been in turmoil for the last decade. Okay?
beat. Yeah, I would agree with you.
I mean,
I actually believe it happened.
and I'm telling you, Lovie Smith, it is hard when you've been coaching in the pros for as long as he has to come back to college and to be successful.
Hard, I don't even think is the word. I think it's almost next to impossible.
Right.
It really
Because
is.
You can't even account for what has to happen in recruiting because it's a totally different world.
I would agree. I would like to know how many coaches, and when I say by successful, I say winning conference championships, winning high bowl games. What coaches have come from the NFL and taken on a head coaching position in college and have been successful?
You know what? I don't think so. I mean, the last great example I can think about was Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
And even he struggled
Yeah,
at Stanford when he went back.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, guys do it from college to the NFL. We
Right.
saw it with Jim Harbaugh. We've seen it with Pete Carroll.
Right.
But it's hard going from the NFL
It's
to
hard
college.
to
It's
go
just
back.
a completely different animal.
It's a different animal. It's a different animal in recruiting because you have no off season because
You're
of the
exactly
recruiting. And I think the biggest mistake that these guys make is you get pro head coaches and all they know are other pro head coaches.
Yeah.
They don't hire enough young guys that have been college coaches.
Yep.
Okay. Now, you've got Luke Butkus on the staff there. He is the only guy that really gives them a chance, not only on the field because he identifies with Illinois because of his family legacy there.
Exactly.
But that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of these guys are all pro coaches by and large. So we can go. I get the Green Book out and just look at their staff. But I think that's a really hard thing. All right, that's quite a segue when we talk about MAC teams going somewhere.
It is.
You know,
It is. That is a. that is.
Can you come up with somebody other than Illinois?
I don't know if this was week 2, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe a couple years ago, wasn't Iowa knocked off by Northern Illinois? When Northern Illinois was pretty good.
They were, yeah.
I don't know if that was the opener or week 2. You're talking week 2, then you really start, making me question.
So, and I can tell you because usually Iowa plays Iowa State in the second week.
Okay. So maybe it was week 1.
So maybe it was week 1.
A week 1 game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I can't name another.
Right.
This is back to our game preview.
Yeah.
This is all I know. You have a MAC team
Right.
that got dominated by Syracuse week 1.
Right.
If you're the University of Michigan, you better.
Yeah, and I think
stand
Syracuse
up
put
and
49 points on them or something like that.
I think it was.
Yeah, and if the Michigan offense is going to get healthy, now's the game to really do it. And to
This goes back to my question, though. I still think this, Shemy. What if they don't dominate like everyone's expecting them to?
right. Well, we're going to find out.
Oh.
Okay. I mean,
And here's another question I've been thinking about. Just you're a Michigan man.
yeah.
Throw a name out there that if this went south and Harbaugh was fired,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this thing. Throw a name out there that would even Michigan would go after. I mean, Harbaugh was always their guy in their back pocket, right? Always meant to be. It was their guy.
Right.
Where do they go to after this?
After week 1.
It's just a serious question, right?
Right.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh won't be there the rest of his life.
We have to wait until the season comes out. But there's plenty of names out there because Michigan is always going to be an attractive job. Okay?
But okay.
we have to look at our perspective on leadership. And I will say this, all right? You have a guy in Ward Manuel that has been at Michigan, that played for Bo, that understands the culture and what is required, all right?
Right, and guess what? They like to bring in Michigan men.
Right.
And I hate to say it, I think the well has run dry.
I don't think so. You want to know why? You can bring guys out of retirement.
A guy like Les Miles?
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
I would be on board with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and here's the other thing. You have, and obviously the landscape of how coaches get hired has changed dramatically. But I would never be averse to looking at a guy who is a young coach, all right, maybe in his 40s, that has had some semblance of success where he's been. Why would you not look at a Jason Candle out of Toledo?
Ooh.
Huh?
Oh.
And not that that's the only option.
Shemy, I mean, I think if you're going there, there is no way that Michigan should make that hire.
Right.
No way from the
Okay.
University of Toledo. I think if you were to bring up a Campbell, you go Matt Campbell from Iowa State.
Right. I agree. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're gonna go that route, a young guy who's had some success,
Right.
I think you go there. I think he's won some big games at Iowa State. He's turning that program around.
Yep.
I don't think you can go from Toledo to Michigan. That's a slap. If they make that move, if they do, honestly, and I love you to death, Shemy, but I would lose a lot of respect for the University of Michigan.
Why?
Because Toledo guys aren't supposed to get hired at Michigan.
Huh?
That's not how it's supposed to.
Nick Saban was there.
Listen. I'm saying from their next stop. I'm not saying any Toledo coach.
Right.
I'm saying there's no way you go from Toledo to Michigan.
Right.
That's too big of a step. In my mind, Michigan is that job, right? Is top 5 in the country job, right?
I agree.
If you hire someone from Toledo, Michigan is telling me that Michigan is now a top 40 job.
So what job is Jason Candle qualified for? He's won consistently at Toledo.
No. Other Big 10, other Big 12, other ACC.
Yep.
Not okay. This is what I'm saying. So if he can get hired at Michigan, you're telling me he could get hired at Ohio State?
Not necessarily.
To me, they're on the same playing field.
No, because you have different cultures. Okay.
Oh,
you have Urban
come on.
Meyer. You have a coaching staff that is waiting in the wings to become a head coach.
Yeah, but Shemy, that's my question. My question to you is: could that guy be hired at Ohio State tomorrow?
Huh? No.
Then he's not ready to be at Michigan. There is no way.
Okay. I think now. Here's what I think. All right. If you take a look at the job requirements for Michigan, having a recruiting infrastructure, having a staff that goes out and recruits players and develops players and has talented players, and this is the same thing Bo did. When he came from Miami of Ohio, he proved that he could go out and recruit and get good players.
I agree. It's a different time.
It's a different time.
Yes.
I agree. All right. But there's going to be certain staples that are involved in becoming a good coach and developing a good program that is consistent, that has won championships. Toledo has proven that. I'm not saying that Jason Candle is the guy that you hire, but he's definitely a guy that you interview, all right? You want to find out about him. You want to dig into his background. I am certain that all the headhunting firms have already brought him in to interview about the next job that's coming open, okay?
Okay.
But to me, if you're covering your bases and you're doing a good job, those guys get interviewed no matter where they coach. All right.
Yeah.
Jim Tressle's no exception. Successful coach that has won national championships at the FCS level. He's coached there long enough.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit different, though.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
but I'm talking
that was a
about
little bit
qualified candidates. All right.
Okay.
Qualified candidates. All right. And to me, you let the interview process play out when you bring them all into a group and say, hey, here's who we have, all right? That doesn't mean you can't go out and go get a coordinator from the SEC, go get a coordinator from the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah.
Is that if you do your due diligence as a headhunting firm, as an athletic director, you're going to have 12 names available that you want to interview to talk to.
I would agree with
as
that.
potential candidates, all right? I followed Jason Candle's career for quite some time now. When he took over, and he's been the head coach there for 3 years now, he's if they win another Mid-American Conference championship this year, he will be up for these jobs. And if you
he will.
If you talk to the people at Toledo, they're waiting for the day for when they're going to lose him because they know they're going to lose him.
Yeah, but they will lose him, but I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a job like Michigan.
Right.
I just don't see it.
Right. Well, like I said, you do your due diligence.
Yeah.
And you figure out through the interview process who you like and who's going to be the best fit. Because if you sit down with Jason Candle and you bring him into your interview room, you don't know. And one of the first questions I would have about any coach getting hired anywhere, do you understand the culture at my school? Do you understand what Michigan is all about? Okay? And if you're a guy that's really done his homework and understood how these programs were built and how they became successful, that to me is a guy who aspires to become the head coach of that program.
Right.
And regardless of age, I mean, Bo Schembechler got hired when he was 39 years old. All right? And I just think you never want to rule out that possibility, okay? When they hired Bo, it was Bo who? Nobody knew who the hell he was. And
but like I said, that's completely
I
different.
know
time.
that, but I'm talking about running a program.
And you can't,
Okay.
you cannot compare Bo Schembechler to Jason Candle.
Well, not yet anyway.
There's no way.
Well, it's just like Bo Schembechler in 1969. Could you compare him to Woody Hayes? No,
No,
you couldn't.
it's true.
Okay,
It's true.
it's a fascinating conversation, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
All right, very good. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're actually going to get into this game. I think Ohio State's going to take Rutgers to the woodshed. The idea it's a 34-point spread makes sense to me. We'll talk about it when we get back. The Rivalry Classic Football Show. Go Blue.
Go Bucks.
Thank you.
Powerball. Don't get caught without one.
The Rivalry, a historic showdown between two great teams and two passionate fan bases. This season, join Germain Honda of Dublin and Germain Honda of Ann Arbor as we relive the greatest moments in the history of the game, with special offers for listeners. Discover Honda's award-winning lineup of cars and SUVs, like the 2017 CR-V, starting at just over $24,000. But rest assured, whether you're in Ann Arbor or Columbus, you can count on Germain Honda to deliver the right car, the right price, the right way.
It really is the difference between winning and losing, being able to get your hands inside, defeat blockers, and it works at all positions and all skill levels. I'm Joey Bosa. See the difference to your game.
Okay, we're back. Rivalry Classic Football Show with Boren and Schembechler. We're down here at College Traditions on Lane. I mean, if a Michigan guy can come down here and get stuff, then I think any Ohio State person would do the same thing.
You buying some when we leave here?
I'm going to measure your height.
Oh, okay.
That's one thing I'm going to do. We're going to do that inside after we get done with this.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about Rutgers, because Chris Ash, very good coach. I think he, and obviously he was here at Ohio State for 2 years.
He was 2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
And so he moved on. And I think understanding, because when I first saw Rutgers after they joined the league, I thought they would be a middle-of-the-pack Mid-American Conference team. Middle-of-the-pack team. That's how bad they were talent-wise.
I don't think you're far off.
Right. I think they've come a long way.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
If there's one thing I know about Chris Ash is every time he gets up and does an interview, it's always the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's good because what that program needs, it needs is consistent
I was
and
just
sound
about to say, consistency
leadership.
and a good culture, and I think Chris Ash is building that there.
Right.
I really do. I am a firm believer that he is staying consistent.
Right.
He is staying true to the kind of guy he is, not getting up too high, not getting too low, staying consistent in building that program up.
Right. And I think they're better. I mean, they're better since his arrival, you know.
I think they're a lot better.
Yeah.
But when he took over that program, they were in bad shape.
They were horrible. I mean, they were really bad. And I think in many ways they have been competitive in games, but they've always done one or two things to shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
That knocked them out of games. And so I think Ash is the ideal guy for Rutgers to be where they are right now. I just think it's going to be all about the recruiting and how they recruit the Southeast and how they recruit D.C., you know, and Philadelphia and places like that.
Jersey's great football.
Jersey's
great football.
No doubt. I mean, they got to quit letting the Michigans and all those people coming in and stealing
Michigan
their
and
players.
Ohio State have taken the best players out of Jersey over the past 3-4 years.
Exactly. So now it's all about keeping them home, you know. And, like, I've been to Rutgers. I mean, they got a brand-new complex stadium and all that
actually,
stuff.
I take that back. I have been there.
Have
been to
you?
campus.
Have
Never
you?
been on the to the field or anything.
Right.
My best friend's twin brother went to pharmacy school at Rutgers, and we
Really?
went to pick him up, so we were there for like 6 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a campus tour?
It was a quick campus tour. Yeah, my buddy and I went and spent 2 days in NYC.
Right.
Took the
In
train.
Piscataway.
Yeah, took the train down to campus. Was there for about 6 hours.
Yep.
Quick campus tour.
Yep.
Bolted on back to Columbus.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating because when you talk about the last time that Rutgers had a competitive team, there was a guy named Schiano coaching the
I was
team.
about to say Ray Rice.
Right, Ray Rice.